You're listening to the X-Zone Radio Show, live and around the world on the Talkstar Radio Network, X-Zone Broadcast Network, UK High Definition Radio, Euro High Definition Radio, and Star Cable. Our toll-free telephone number worldwide is 1-800-610-7035. Our email address, xzone@xzoneradiotv.com. On MSN Messenger, xzoneradiotv@hotmail.com, and our website, www.xzoneradiotv.com.
I believe it's meant to be, darling. I want you in.
The X-Zone radio and TV show is largely an opinion talk show. All opinions, comments, or statements of fact expressed by Rob McConnell's guests are strictly their own and are not to be construed as those of the X-Zone radio and TV show or in any manner endorsed by Rob McConnell, Relmar McConnell Media Company, Talkstar Radio Network, its affiliated stations, or employees.
All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X-Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
Don't wish it away, don't look at it like it's forever. Between you and me, I could honestly say that things can only get better.
And welcome back, everyone. My name is Rob McConnell. We're coming to you from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Worldwide toll-free, 1-800-610-7035. Email xzone@xzoneradiotv.com. On MSN Messenger, xzoneradiotv@hotmail.com. And our website, www.xzoneradiotv.com. The face of terrorism today, X-Zone Nation, is a Muslim one. Fear abounds that mosques are fronts for terrorist cells recruiting suicide bombers. Pastors threaten to burn the Quran. Arsonists set fire to mosques. And Muslims are victims of hatred and profiling. But what do people really know about Islam or the religious practice of Muslims? Joining me this hour is IMAM OMAR HAZIM. He has studied, practiced, taught, and lived the Islamic faith for over 50 years. A respected leader in the Heartland of America. He's going to be telling us in a very reputable manner a very different perspective from what many believe about Islam since 9/11. Our guest this hour hopes to soften our hearts and educate minds by sharing the truth about the religion and the vast majority of those who follow it. Joining me now from the beautiful state of Kansas is IMAM OMAR HAZIM. And IMAM, welcome to the X-Zone.
Thank you, and I appreciate the invitation to be on your show.
Tell me, sir, as a Muslim, a practicing Muslim today, have things gotten better since 9/11, or have things gotten worse, or is it the same as it was?
Well, it appears that things have gotten worse than they were before 9/11 throughout the country, because we can see now that there are various masjids or mosques that are being targets. They're being burned, and some people go to them and try to desecrate the mosque. There's more ugly publicity about Islam than it was before 9/11. So it appears that the things have gotten a little out of hand and worse than they were before overall.
Why do you think that is, sir? After all, it wasn't the entire, it wasn't everyone who is a Muslim who was involved in 9/11. It's just a very few, a drop in the water. And yet it seems that everyone is being blamed.
Well, I think you're right. It is like a drop in the ocean compared to the amount of Muslims that there are in the world, which is 1,500,000,000 according to many of the reports now. And on the other hand, it's not all of the people that's against Islam. It's just a few of them, but they're voicing their opinions loud and clear. But I think they just misunderstand the religion. They misunderstand the people of the faith. And this was one of the reasons that I had publicized and wrote my book called Islam in the Heartland of America, to try to dispel some of those distortions about the beautiful religion itself. And in my book, it talks about how Islam is taught in a mosque. It have excerpts of sermons that are actually being preached every Friday in the mosque. And so it's kind of a tool, hopefully, that will help to dispel some of the ugly ideas and the dangerous misconceptions about the religion.
Imam, please stand by. You and I have to take our first 2-minute commercial break. Exo Nation, Imam Omar HAZIM is our special guest. www.omarhazim.com. That's OMARHAZIM.com. The name of his book is Islam in the Heartland of America. My name is Rob McConnell. This is the X Zone, a place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard. Send me your emails, xzone@xzoneradiotv.com, and visit our website, www.xzoneradiotv.com. And don't forget, the world's only paranormal parapsychology newspaper, The X Chronicles, published by Relmar, xchronicles-newspaper.com.
I need love, love to ease my mind. I need to find someone to call mine. But Mama said, can't hurry, love. No, you just have to wait. She said, love don't come easy. It's a game of give and take. I can't hurry, love. No, you just have to wait. You gotta trust every time, no matter how long it takes. But how many heartaches must I stand?
Exo Nation, my guest this hour is Imam Omar HAZIM, and he is founder and the leader of the Islamic Center of Topeka, Islamic administrator and advisor to the Kansas Department of Corrections, and was the first Muslim to give the invocation to the Kansas House of Representatives. And where is, in your opinion, Imam Omar, the biggest misconception when it comes to Islam and Muslims?
Well, I think generally the biggest misconception is that sometimes people think that we don't believe in God. They hear the name Allah, and they think it's some foreign entity or some foreign God. They often think that we worship or pray to the prophet of God, who's called Muhammad. I think these are two of the biggest conceptions. And then from that, I think we go to the idea of all Muslims or most Muslims or many Muslims being terrorists since the advent of 9/11. But in reality, when we say Allah, then that's the Arabic language that means God. And for an example, there are many Jews and Christians that are Arabic-speaking people in those certain lands, and when they call on God, they're using their language, and they will say Allah is God, and this is just a difference of language.
You know, here in Canada, we have two languages. We have English and French. In English, it's God. In French, it's Dieu. So I have a problem with the great animosity that seems to be present just because of the way that the word is said. If the word means the same thing, whether it's in Arabic or whether it's said by a member of the Muslim community, whether it's said by a Christian, whether or not it's said by a Roman Catholic in Quebec, it's all the same thing.
Exactly. I agree 100%. A lot of people don't have that broad mentality. You know, some people think that this is my language, like this is the only language, or this is my way of thinking, and this is the only way of thinking. But I think those barriers have to be broken down and crossed, and I think that's what we're beginning to do now with communication.
What is the difference, Imam, between a mosque and a church?
Okay, that's a good question, and it's not much difference other than a church normally is a place where people who label themselves as Christians go to worship. A mosque is a place where people who label themselves as Muslims go and they practice their religion, they pray, they listen to sermons. And so a mosque is actually a place of worship in definition. And I believe that a church is also a place of worship. Now, in the broader sense, you don't have to be in one or the other to worship. You can worship in your home. You can worship in the park. You can worship God anywhere that you are in God's creation.
And once again, we can use another example. A synagogue is where those who believe in the Jewish faith go to pray.
Exactly. Yes, yeah. That's right. That's what is called a synagogue. And all of those are mentioned in the Holy Quran as places of worship. And synagogue is mentioned, a church is mentioned, and also a mosque is mentioned.
Imam, what is the true meaning of jihad?
Well, jihad, the real definition of the word, if we take that word from the Arabic and we translate it, it means to struggle. And there are different phases of jihad. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, he described jihad as the greater jihad. There's different levels of jihad, but the greatest jihad is striving against one's own soul, striving for excellence within the soul itself, within the individual. That is the greater jihad. And he said the strength is not in the one who's able to subdue the other, but the strength is in the one who uses self-restraint and self-control. Now, jihad, for anyone, whether it's a Muslim, whether it's a Jewish person, or whether it's a Christian, if they are striving for the best situation in their life, that is a struggle, that is a jihad, whether it's for education, whether it's for to better the community, whether it's for a better job for that individual. If the striving is for a good cause and a righteous cause, regardless of what they call themselves, then it is a jihad, it is a struggle.
What about the Quran? Does the Quran really teach about terrorism? Or is this a misconception based on the fears that society have based on 9/11?
Well, I think those are fears that the people have. The Quran, it tells us several verses, but it tells us very clearly that if anyone takes the life of an innocent individual, then it's like destroying or taking the life of all of humanity. And it says if anyone aids a life, helps a life, then it's like aiding and helping all of humanity. And so this is the concept in the Quran that none of us have the right to take another life, because life is sacred and life is created by God. And the Quran gives us this beautiful story it's fairly similar to the one in the Bible about Adam's two sons. One killed the other one out of jealousy. And so that story is in the Quran, but in the Quran it tells us that these two sons had a conversation, and one of the sons said, well, if you take my life, then maybe I can't stop you. But if you take my life, then you'll also be taking on the burden of the sins that I would have committed if I had lived in this world. So when you take someone's life innocently, then you're going to take that person's sins also that they've committed, and then God may forgive them of their sins, and then that perpetrator of the crime, he's going to be carrying the burden of the sins of the people that he killed. And so this is a very heavy weight on the individual to take someone's life, especially an innocent person. So this is what Quran teaches, and this idea should clarify that there's no room in religion to kill innocent people whatsoever.
I understand, Imam Omar, that there are many, many similarities between Islam, Christianity, and Judaism. How come we don't hear about these similarities, that mainstream media seems to only focus on the differences?
Well, I think we do hear about them, but I think that the people that some of the right-wing bloggers, that their voices sometimes tend to be a little bit louder than the moderate voices. But I think since 9/11, and in our area, especially in the Midwest, in the heartland of America way before 9/11. We've been involved in going to churches. We're involved with interfaith groups. And so we're able to express and show what Islam is all about, the love, the tolerance that Christianity teach, the respect for life that Christianity teaches. Islam teaches the same thing, forgiveness, a good, moral, clean, conscious life, one being conscious of God, having reverence for God, fearing God to certain degrees, and loving and respecting humanity. These three great religions, Judaism, Islam, and Christianity, they are so similar because they all are revealed religions, and God revealed all of them to different messengers and different prophets throughout the century, and that's why the teachings of them. And when you read Bible, you read the Torah, and then you read the Quran, you will see very, very many similarities.
I've often said, Imam Omar, that one of the biggest problems that we have today is a lack of respect for each other's philosophies, each other's beliefs, each other's religions.
That's true, and tolerance, or the lack thereof, lack of tolerance is one thing that's caused so many problems in the world. What Islam teaches about that is that humanity was created from one soul, male and female, and that we're created in tribes and families and in diversities as a challenge. And that challenge is, God tells us in the Quran that the challenge is that we should come to know one another and not despise one another. And so you've got a great deal of diversity in this world, and the idea is for you to come to know me to know a little bit about you, and then once we do that, then we will have more respect for one another because we're all human beings and we all come from the same family tree.
What about other countries around the world who are making it rather difficult for Muslims to fulfill their own religious beliefs? For example, I believe there's one European country that has now a law that fines ladies from wearing burqas.
Yeah, that's a problem that we have as Muslims, especially in America. We're trying to do everything that we can to try to put the correct face on Islam. And we sacrifice and we go to places where we're invited to try to get this message out. And then we do have Muslim countries that are not adhering to the Quran itself, but they are adhering to some culture that they have. It could be a culture of ignorance, a culture of misunderstanding, a culture of backwardness. But the Quran and the life of the Prophet and the Quran itself does not teach that women have to cover themselves that way. The woman is equal to the man. The woman has certain freedoms as well as the man has certain freedoms. And so we do have a job ahead of us to not only try to educate those in the West, but those in other Muslim countries also that might have a different view of the religion.
You and I, sir, have to take a news break at the bottom of the hour. Please stand by. Thank you very much for joining us. It's a great pleasure having you with us here in the X Zone.
Sure, thank you.
X Zone Nation, my very special guest this hour is the author of Islam in the Heartland of America. Imam Omar HAZIM is his name, and his website is www.omarhazim.com. That's OMARHAZIM.com. We'll be back on the other side of this commercial break with the news as we continue from our studios here in the X Zone, located in beautiful Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. 1-800-610-7035 is our worldwide toll-free number. And you're listening to us on the Talkstar Radio Network, X Zone Broadcast Network, UK High Definition Radio, Euro High Definition Radio, Star Cable, X Zone TV, and our worldwide affiliates right across Canada, the United States, Central America, South America, the Pacific Rim, Asia, Africa, and Europe. My name is Rob McConnell. Don't go away. You're listening to the X Zone Radio Show, live and around the world on the Talkstar Radio Network, X Zone Broadcast Network, UK High Definition Radio, Euro High Definition Radio, and Star Cable. Our toll-free telephone number worldwide is 1-800-610-7035. Our email address, xzone@xzoneradiotv.com. On MSN Messenger, xzoneradiotv@hotmail.com, and our website, www.xzoneradiotv.com.
Bring it home, baby, make it so.
My name is Michael Telstar, Canada's leading mentalist from Toronto, Ontario.
Hi, my name is Splenda, and you're listening to my dad, Ron McConnell, on the X-Zone.
This is Psychic Dorothy from St. Catharines, and you're listening to Rob McConnell.
Hello, my name is Holly Reeves, an astrologer from Astro For You, and you're listening to Canada's #1 paranormal radio show, The X Zone, with Rob McConnell.
Welcome to the X Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
Hey lady, you lady, cursing at your life. You're a discontented mother and a regimented wife. I've no doubt you dream about the things you'll never do, but I wish someone had to talk to me like I wanna talk to you. Ooh, I've been to Georgia and California and anywhere I could run. Took the hand of a preacher man and we made love in the sun. But I ran out of places and friendly faces because I had to.
And welcome back, everyone. This is the X Zone. We're coming to you from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. My special guest this hour is IMAM OMAR HAZIM. His website is www.omarhazim.com, and he's the author of Islam in the Heartland of America. How has the general public received your book so far, Imam Omar?
So far, it's been very positive. I don't know. I don't have a report yet on how many sales that have been made, but in this area and some of the other areas, I'm getting good reviews and good reports by individuals that have purchased the book, and most of them are saying that they are very pleased with the information in it and how enlightened it is. And this is from Muslims, Jews, and Christians. So far, it's very, very positive. And we expect that will continue.
Well, I congratulate you on a job well done. It's nice to see people opening up their minds, because when they open up their minds, they also open up their hearts. And one thing I find very difficult to try and understand with religion is you're taught all this goodness. You're taught about God. You're taught about all the good things in life, and yet when it comes to another religion, there seems to be boundaries. How do we get rid of those boundaries, sir?
Well, I think the only way for us to get rid of them, Rob, is what we're doing now. This type of dialogue, radio, TV, news media, visiting churches, community centers, just in the workplace, just people opening up to communicate with one another. And I think once we do that, then we will have a profound increased respect for what other people believe. And we'll see that the goodness is shared, throughout the world. So there's a lot of people in the world that are creating trouble and causing problems for Muslims, Jews, and Christians. I mean, you have just like what Timothy McVeigh did.
Yes.
But we would certainly not say that, all Christians are terrorists, or like what the Ku Klux Klan have done and is still doing in this country.
Yeah.
That's a Christian group, but their belief is certainly not mainstream Christianity. And we look at what Hitler did to the Jews, who he said that he was a devout Christian. But certainly that's not what Christianity teaches, and just teach that we should kill innocent people like that. But on the other hand, I think we have to recognize and realize that people that do these horrible, indecent atrocities, even though they may profess to believe in that religion, we can't hold the religion responsible for that.
One statistic that I came across lately that really surprised me was that the number one religion where conversion is made to in jail is to Islam. Mm-hmm. Is there a reason for that, sir?
Well, what I would suspect is, and I'm with the correctional facilities here in the state, and what I think that happens, that a lot of people will go to jail. They may have a little more time to reflect, to think in a very sincere, deep, and honest way about faith or changing their life. And they want to change it for the better. So I think when they begin to look deeply at Islam, that they are very attracted to it. It could be because of the oneness of God. There's no conflict, there's no confusion there in their minds. It may be something else. It may be the brotherhood, the respect that we have for one another, and the respect that we have for other religions. So I guess each person that convert to it, have to give his or her own story as to how they or why they converted. But my feeling is that the sincere thought pattern in those people. Some people also convert to Christianity in jail, and I've seen that, and I've talked to many people that have not just converted to Islam, but have converted to Christianity because they begin to take stock of themselves because maybe they have done maybe something very seriously wrong, and they want to correct that, and they want to find the best way to correct it, and so they start seeking for forgiveness from God.
Where do you believe, Imam Omar, that the belief that Islam was spread by the sword came from?
Well, I believe that that's an idea that certainly is not true, number one, and I can say that by Islam is said right now, and it's the fastest growing religion in the world. It's the fastest growing religion in America, certainly. And we don't see any swords being drawn in this country. I think way back in the time when Islam was in the 14th and 15th century, when it was spreading across Africa and Asia and some of those countries, the sword was a tool that many men carried, just as protection for themselves and whatever. But we don't see that Islam invaded countries and forced countries to accept Islam by the sword, no more than we can say that Christianity was spreaded by F-16s or the atomic bombs or some of the weapons that Christians have used in the modern day and time to fight wars with. Certainly these weapons was used to fight wars, but not necessarily to make people come to Christianity. And so I think, like the Quran tells us this, it says, let there be no compulsion in religion. It's a very powerful and a strong command in Islam. Is in Arabic is la ikraha fit din, meaning let there be no compulsion, because true faith is in the heart. And you can't put a gun on somebody and make them accept Christianity or Islam or no other religion. They don't believe it in their heart, then it's just not there.
I mentioned a few minutes ago that people convert to Islam in jail, and you said that Islam is the number one conversion religion in the United States today. Why do you think that is?
Well, again, I would have to say in part, I think that it's there's an old saying that there's no power on earth that can stop an idea whose time has come. And I believe that in this day and time, it's time for Islam to rise. It's time for Islam to be seen for the truth and the beauty that it presents to the people. And so I just believe that absolutely that it's just the time is right for this religion to be acknowledged, not only in this country, but in the world. And again, it is not going to be spread with the sword, and on the other hand, it can't be stopped by the sword, and it can't be stopped by malicious, ugly, and bad statements about the religion. I think that some of the bloggers and the right-wing radio talk show hosts. I think the more that they try to say that Islam is a heathen religion, that it's a savage religion, I think that that's going to draw more people's attention to the religion. I think people are going to say, well, I am more curious about this religion today than I was yesterday.
Let me ask you a philosophical question here, if you don't mind.
Okay.
If there is only one God, why are there so many different religions?
Well, I think that, and the way Islam, try to bring it, is that over the period of time, God feels just in bringing or giving messages to humanity by raising up different prophets. All of the prophets, every one of them, from Adam to Muhammad, taught the same religion. Master, we say that religion is Islam. It's not named after an individual. Islam means submission to God. And so all of the prophets taught humanity to submit to God. But over periods of time, I think that humanity have named religion, and they have named them after maybe circumstances of different people. And so it's not that God has given one messenger or one prophet something different than what he gave the other one. He gave them all the same, but I think it's people, humanity, that have divided the religious ideology and put names on them. And that's where this type of division have come in. But I think if you a person that really studies religion, like we were talking earlier about the similarity, if you study Judaism, that haven't been changed or added by men, and Christianity, what haven't been changed and added by men, and Islam, which haven't been changed and added by men. If you take those changes out and look at the pure word, then you're going to see this great resemblance, and you'll see that what was revealed to humanity is one and the same by all of the messengers and all of the prophets.
Just the fact that there are so many followers within the Muslim community, do you think that this is seen as a threat by other religions as well as citizens in the countries where the vast number of Muslims are starting to either immigrate or convert?
Well, I don't think they should see it as a threat, because I think when goodness is on the rise, and that goodness affects all people in a very positive way. I think if something ugly comes out of it, like what came out of 9/11, I think that if people begin to feel like this is the thing that's going to take precedence in this country or somewhere else in the world because of war or because of America's foreign policy somewhere else, then the people begin to show some apprehension towards that. But I think when they see that religion is growing and it is changing people's hearts, it's changing people's minds, it's making people better human beings, then it's going to be accepted even more readily, because good is just something that we all benefit from.
All right, now tell me how converting to Islam is going to make a person a better person.
Well, I think like any other religion, I think if a person, say if a person have lived a life of sin, a life of crime, a life that he or she has been certainly totally unjust to themselves or their families, and they decide to convert to Christianity, then that's making that individual a better person if he's following the teachings of Christianity. And likewise with Islam, if a person has been a horrible or bad person in his or her life and they decide to clean their life up and change for the better, and they come to Islam, then that's naturally going to make that individual a much more God-conscious person. And when we become more God-conscious, I think this is what increases the sincerity within us. It increases the moral fiber. It makes us just better individuals, because our conscious level has been raised to a higher level. And that higher level is that we're reflecting more so on God's rules, His laws, showing more gratitude for God. We're showing more respect for humanity overall, who God has created. And so in showing this type of love and respect for the Creator, then it's bound to spread to our neighbors also.
Were you born into the Muslim belief, or are you yourself a convert?
I'm a convert myself. I accepted Islam back in 1962. Prior to that, I was in the church. My mother and father and sisters and brothers, we all was raised up in the Baptist church. So I was a Baptist. And I accepted Islam at the time when Malcolm X was real popular, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the leader of the Nation of Islam. I accepted Islam with that mentality back in early 1962.
Has being a Muslim made you a better person?
Oh, yes, definitely. In fact, it was funny that you asked that. I was just sharing with a friend of mine the other day. We went to St. Louis to do book signing. And I was telling him that back in 1962, I wrote an article in a paper called Muhammad Speaks newspaper, and the title of it was that Islam have saved me from the treadmill of evil. And I wrote that article because it was true. You know, as a teenager, I did quite a few things that I knew I shouldn't have done, and I think it was because of me accepting Islam during that time that really changed my life.
Imam, please stand by. You and I have to take our final break. Exonation, our very special guest this hour, is the author of Islam in the Heartland of America, Imam Omar HAZIM, and his website is www.omarhazim.com, OMARHAZIM.com. And Exonation will be back on the other side of this commercial break as we continue from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Don't go away.
You're born, they make you feel small by giving you no time instead of it all, till the pain is so big you feel nothing at all. A working class hero is something to be. A working class hero is something to be. They hurt you at home and they hit you.
Exonation, my guest this hour is Imam Omar HAZIM. He is the author of Islam in the Heartland of America. His website is www.omarhazim.com. Where can listeners get a copy of your book, sir?
Okay, the book can be you can get the book at any Barnes and Noble, Books A Million, Amazon.com, Borders, and most of the well-known bookstores throughout America and the world.
Christians,
and you can go to my website, and there's some links on there where you can order the book from. Also, as you mentioned, www.omarhazim.com.
Christians celebrate Christmas, the birth of Christ, December the 25th. We celebrate Easter, the Good Friday, the day that Christ was crucified, and then 3 days, the Sunday, Easter Sunday, the day that he arose from the dead. What kind of religious holidays do the members of Islam celebrate?
Well, we have two major holidays in Islam, and they both are called the Eid, E-I-D. One of them is after we fast during Ramadan, and after that fast, see, the Quran was revealed in the month of Ramadan, the beginning of the Quran, and after we have that 29 or 30-day fast, and we have a big feast called Eid al-Fitr, and during that feast, we give gifts to the children, we give gifts to one another, we have a prayer service that morning, and we make sure we try to visit the sick, we visit the graveyard of those that have passed before us, and we have this 3-day celebration. And then the other holiday is about a little over 2 months after that, and it's called the Eid al-Adha, which is after the pilgrimage, when pilgrims go to Mecca for the once-in-a-lifetime event. And once they return and that religious ritual is completed, then we have the greater celebration. And we do the same thing on that. We give gifts, and certainly we try to bring the children involved, give them gifts, and we give one another gifts. We celebrate, we have feasts, we visit the sick, and we try to give to the less fortunate. And those are the two main holidays that we celebrate. Some Muslims will celebrate the birth of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, but he have advised us not to celebrate his birth, but some do it anyway, so it's not, we don't say it's a sin to do anything like that, but we just think that when they celebrate his birth, we want them to look at his legacy that he left to humanity. We want Muslims to study the Quran and study, what the message that he brought to society.
Imam Omar HAZIM, I want to thank you very much for joining us, sir. Congratulations on a wonderful book, and thank you very much for sharing with us this past hour.
All right, thank you, sir.
It's my great pleasure. Exo-Nation, Imam Omar HAZIM is the founder and leader of the Islamic Center of Topeka, Islamic advisor to the Kansas Department of Corrections, and was the first Muslim to give the invocation to the Kansas House of Representatives. He and his wife were recognized as ambassadors for peace by the Interreligious and International Federation for World Peace. His book, Islam in the Heartland of America, is available at fine bookstores, online, offline, as well as his website at www.omarhazim.com. What a great guy. I love the way he thinks. We need peace in this world, Exo-Nation. We'll be back on the other side of this commercial break with the news at 6.5 minutes past as we continue here in the X Zone with yours truly, Rob McConnell. Don't go away now.